so today we're going to be talking about 2315. So 2315 is our second due engine. What that means, it's typically following 2316, our front run out the door. So it's going typically residential structure fires. If we have the staffing, it would also be going to fire alarms. 2315, so when it's following in, it'll typically be water supply. So it stops at a hydrant. We'll throw our hydrant pack around the hydrant, and it'll follow the lead engine up to the fire. So 2315 carries roughly 750 gallons of water, about 30 gallons of Class A foam on board. As far as hose, we have 3 cross sections, 200 feet each of 1 3/4 inch, which is primarily an attack line. 1,000 feet of LDH, so that'd be 5 inch. So that's what we'd use to supply the lead engine or the tower. And we also have about 500 feet of 2.5 inch hose, which would be used for defensive operations typically. Normally we have 2 people riding on this engine. We do have the capacity for 4, but with it being the second engine, we typically don't put 4 people on. All right, so first thing we're gonna be talking about is the pump panel. So the pump panel is where the engineer, the driver, is gonna be making everything happen. That's where he's gonna be making water go out the line. So all these different levers here, they're for different valves, or different lines, different discharges, if you will. So a discharge is gonna be hooked up to, it could be 1 3/4 inch, 2.5, or just have a discharge to put a different line on. So we have 3 different cross lays or tack lines. They're all 1 3/4 inch. All right, a couple other notes about this pump. So it's a 2,000 gallon per minute pump. So what that means is when this pump is running at full capacity, it has the capability of putting out 2,000 gallons of water per minute, which is a lot if you think about it. Another kind of unique thing about this pump, we have the capability of running foam. It's called a foam induction system. Through certain discharges. Not all of them, but enough to make things work. All right, so the first compartment we're going to talk about is the driver's compartment. Basically all the driver's compartment is just it's a bunch of various hand tools. So you can consider the fire engine a big rolling toolbox to start with. This is just broken down a little bit more specifically for the driver, just to do smaller. Could be quick fixes on the fire ground. Got tools to plug sprinklers and other various tasks. All right, so the next compartment we got, we're just going to call it the rescue compartment. So we have a couple tools what are called rescue 42s, and what we use those for is to stabilize vehicles that may be on the roof, on their side, just something that's not real safe for us to work in. So we use those to stabilize. We also do have some throw bags in there, and what throw bags are for is water rescue. We do have some other apparatus that have more tools on there, but it's more of a first out, quick, or it gives us the opportunity to make a quick rescue with the throw bags. All right, so the next compartment we're going to be talking about is, it can be considered a ventilation compartment. So when a building's filled with smoke or heat, when the fire's out, we do have to ventilate it. So to do that, we have a couple tools for that. We have a PPV, which is located here. It's an electric one, which is kind of nice. It just plug it in, it's a little bit quieter. But PPV stands for positive pressure ventilation. So what that means is it's pushing fresh air into the building and hopefully forcing all the gas and heat out. We also have a smaller fan. We call it a smoke ejector. We can hang in windows of apartments, houses, and it's supposed to just suck the smoke and heat out. Also in here we have a chainsaw, which can be used for ventilation as well if we're up on the roof, need to vent the roof or just make an opening in some sort of structure. Right. All right, so in the front bumper here we have 2 of our tools that we use for extrication. So we have the hydraulic spreaders and the cutters. So what's unique about these tools is they are battery operated, or that's how they power the tool. I guess the force is actually hydraulic force. But this we'll be using for vehicle extrications, possibly industrial equipment, whatever you can really put it to use for. I'll give you guys a quick look here. So you can see here the tip of the spreaders, and all they do is move out and move in. I'll give you a quick demonstration on that. All right. And all things considered, pretty quiet. There's no gas motor running in the background. Fairly light, no cords to trip over. All right, so now we're on the other side of the pump panel, and if you can notice, we still have access to at least 2 of the 3 of the cross lays, which is kind of handy because you never know what side the fire is going to be on. Just you don't know when you pull up. We also do have a combat hose. Primarily use this for dumpster fires or just something that's kind of quick and easy. We also do have an intake, so it doesn't matter which side you're on as far as when you're pulling up to a hydrant. a little bit easier access, excuse me. And we also have a large diameter discharge. So we can be pumping a large diameter hose to another truck if need be. All right, so the next compartment we're going to talk about contains our high-rise packs and our RIT pack. So we'll talk about a high-rise first. High-rise is considered anything that's taller than 3 stories. So we have numerous buildings in town that we'd consider a high-rise. In the high-rise pack, we just have a few different tools and hookups that we'd use to hook up to the standpipes to fight the fire. The RIT pack, which is located up top there, it's mainly for if one of our firefighters go down in an emergency situation. There's extra mask, a bottle or spare SCBA bottle, and a few straps. So if we have a downed firefighter, we can get them out on air. So here we got the married set. We use this mainly for forcible entry. You got the Halligan, which is located here. Great, it's just a great big lever is what it is. And the axe you can use either for cutting or to use as a hammer or a driving force to force that Halligan into a door, hood of a car, whatever you really need to get into. All right, so before we're talking about our crosslays, which are already hooked up to the truck and we can just pull and go to the fire. In a high-rise, we do not have that luxury, but we do have something that's called a standpipe. So standpipe is something that will go up in the stairwell and will have a 2.5-inch cap. So we'll charge that standpipe with our engine outside. We'll go up to the fire, and in our high-rise pack or kit, we have a couple different adapters that we can hook up to that standpipe, and we'll be able to charge both of these bundles. And it has only 150, so a little bit different than our crosslays that have 200. But all right, so here we have Pro Pack. So the Pro Pack we primarily are going to be using for Class B fires. So Class B fire is a flammable liquid. So what we do is we end up putting Class B foam in there and end up hooking our hose to this end of the Pro Pack. And then we can set a rate for however much foam we want to put on that fire. The purpose of the foam is to smother the vapors coming off that flammable liquid. All right, the next compartment we're going to talk about is just an extension of our extrication compartments. So at the bottom we just have a bucket filled with tools that we'd possibly use on a car accident. And up top there, so we have the airbags. So what the airbags are used for is someone is pinned under a piece of equipment or a car, just anything really. We slide those airbags underneath that object and lift them up. So that's what the airbags look like. And all we do is we hook up we have another SCBA bottle in there, a couple of regulators. A hose hooks up here. We put underneath that object and it flates out like this. All right, so now we're going to be talking about the officer's seat or lieutenant's seat. The lieutenant is, if he's riding this seat, he's in charge of this vehicle. Whatever goes on, it's kind of his responsibility. Couple notable things up here. We have a thermal imaging camera used to locate hot spots in the fire and potential victims. And also a big thing that's up here is our SCBA. So that's what we're wearing in the fires to protect us from smoke and such. So they're mounted right to the seat. So when we get up or we get in, we're ready to go to the fire. We unbuckle it, put it on, and we're ready to go to the fire.